Jawohl, Schmetterling. It sounds German, but it's actually Dutch, right?
No, it's German.
The language is German, but the producers are Dutch.
They are Dutch, very, very Dutch, to be honest.
And I'm also surprised why people, like in other countries, think that the Dutch, Nederlands, is so similar to German. I mean, I guess it sounds similar, but it's so hard for us to speak.
Yeah, because this track is called Schmetterling.
Schmetterling.
Sounds so
you
German.
have a pretty good Schmetterling. They just kicked off their very own record label called Borderlands. This is their latest release on it, Schmetterling, which is the German word for butterfly, actually.
Yes,
Before that, Spanish Dimension with the progressive pick, track called Vortex. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to A State of Trance. How are we feeling in Amsterdam? Episode 1232, live from the studio in Amsterdam.
I see a lot of sunburned faces because everybody was at Luminosity, I think, last weekend. So welcome, everyone.
It's so warm in the Netherlands as well.
It's insane, but a lot of happy people here.
Hey,
now,
but climate change is a hoax, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
true.
right. Anyway.
There's something we need to talk about, Armin, because because it was all over the news, the blogs and everything, and it was something that you were keeping secret for quite a long time. Tell us about it.
Should I say something about it?
Yeah, well, there's something on the screen as well.
Well,
there you go.
Look at this man. Well, now you have your answer, because a few months ago we were actually having people calling to the office saying, "Hey, is Armin doing well? Is he sick or something?"
Yeah.
Well, I was training for this.
Yeah.
So now you know.
Stuff sick.
Well, it was kind of it really doesn't, I mean, I still can't believe that's actually happening, but I was talking to it. They paid me a lot of money. It's AI. No,
This is for yourself.
No, it's real. So you might have noticed I turned my life around drastically. Along the way, the talks came up with the Iconic magazine. And I have to say, I'm super proud of everything, how it turned out. I guess I approached the whole DJ culture, being on the road and stuff, no longer as my hobby or as my job, but it's top sport.
It's top sport, 100%.
Yeah, I'm approaching my job as an athlete. I mean, I know you guys are out there partying. Great, keep doing that. We love that. But traveling through time zones and stuff, it's just not healthy for me personally. And so 5 years ago, quit drinking completely, never did drugs, and now just on the healthy lifestyle. And now I just feel better. I'm a nicer person, I guess.
Because we're talking about men's health, of course, because people that are listening to the radio show right now, they're thinking, what the hell are they talking about? But you've been through quite a crazy transformation, ladies and gentlemen, for State of Trance, of course, this year. Now, everybody's asking me this week, how the hell did you do it? So I'm wondering as well, how did you get from last year to where you are right now? That's quite crazy.
Well, when they approached me to do the cover, I said no, because it's not me, and I didn't want to do it. So there you go. I'm glad it's gone. Anyway, so I had a 12-week training program with the trainer that normally trains the cover models for the Men's Health magazine, and it's the exact plan that Erica and myself, my wife, are talking about it, and we followed that. So if you want to follow my training program, it's available now, actually.
Hey folks, this is Alex Morph and you're tuned into a state of trance.
Forever. drift away, fall into the break of day, moving out of time and space with me. If you want a sweet escape, leave me in the far away, a place where we can lose our way, so free. You and I, yeah, we break away. You and I, yeah, we break away. 'Cause we escape.
Listening to A State of Trance, played you the trending track from my new album Breathe that was dropped last week. This is one of the tracks that I've been working on, and it's working really well in my sets as well. Sweet Escape with Lucky Lou. And yes, the vinyls of the albums are on the way. Grab the last pre-orders on the Armada shop or link on my website. Are you feeling Amsterdam? Hour number 2 is coming. Ferry Corsten does a special mix this week. Time is flying by. This Sunday I'm back for the 5th time already in Ibiza for another edition of my residency at the Ushuaia. So if you happen to come to Ibiza, I would love to see you there. This week I'm joined by Massano, Fede Legrand and Laura Van Dam. Check ArminVanBuren.com and grab your tickets. Every week our inbox overflowed with the love we get from you guys online. Armin at thestateoftrance.com. Let's have a quick look. Ruben.
Yeah, Peter Erskine wishes a lovely birthday to Laura in Golden, Colorado.
And
track on social media.
Do you wanna drift away? Fall into the break of day. Moving out of time and space with me. If you want a sweet escape, meet me in a far away, a place where we can lose our way. So free, you and I, you and I, yeah, we break away. You and I, you and I, yeah, we break away. 'Cause we escape.
You're listening to A State of Trance.
The trending track is last week's most discussed track on social media.
Do you wanna drift away? Fall into the break of day. Moving out of time and space with me. If you want a sweet escape, meet me in a far away, a place where we can lose our way. So free, you and I, you and I, yeah, we break away. You and I, you and I, yeah, we
listening to A State of Trance, played you the trending track from our new album Breathe that was dropped last week. This is one of the tracks that I've been working on, and it's working really well in my sets.
Do you wanna drift away, fall into the break of day, moving out of time and space with me? If you want a sweet escape, leave me in a far away, a place where we can lose our way, so free. You and I, yeah, we break away. You and I, yeah, we break away. 'Cause we escape.
You're listening to A State of Trance, played you the trending track from our new album Breathe.